see what you were seeing. You could probably see everything bright, but I couldn't figure out the screen. I did a funny thing this morning. The thought just occurred to me. I wouldn't be normally doing that, but I had a reason to do it for you and for me. I opened the computer. I normally don't open the computer until after breakfast. And breakfast follows the lauds, the morning prayer in the community. And the morning prayer in the community this morning is going to follow me getting ready, because I didn't clean up yet. And that follows me doing the posting and the editing of the live streams. And that follows doing the live streams, which we're doing now. But this morning anyway, I just opened up the computer and I went into ChatGPT and I asked what were the news headlines in the year 10 BC. And it was very interesting about trade flourishing on the Silk Route to the east. The Persian Empire is strong, the Roman Empire is strong. There's huge economic growth. But the Roman Empire is having trouble on the northern border with the Germanic tribes who are resisting the expansion of the Roman Empire northward up along the Rhine River and so forth. And then there was news about cultural development in Alexandria and the expansion of the library in Alexandria. And there was news from Rome about the internal consolidation of the Roman Empire, institutionalization. You know, Augustus Caesar is already very established as the emperor. It's a new phase in Roman life. He's unchallenged, unrivaled, total power. The Republican period is over, where there was a more shared power by the elite. And now whatever Octavian wants will happen. So this is all amazing, you know, to see all this. And there were a number of other spots as well about what's happening in India. And I copied out the thing, put it in my notes, so I thought I could read them off for you, but I just remember those ones right now. And it's just very, very interesting. Boker Tov. Atalo said it's okay. Boker Tov. So, you know, you see all the headlines in the news today. You get a comprehensive news magazine, what's all going on in the world, the major movements in industry, economy, culture. Rivalries, wars, battles, skirmishes, political parties, alliances. And you think of all the people then, and the little people on the ground that don't make any headlines. And today's readings covered that story of two women. One is older and one is very young. And both have just become pregnant. and they're meeting up for a coffee. Well, they didn't have coffee then, but I don't know what they had. They didn't have Coca-Cola either, but they were meeting up anyway. And these two women have an extraordinary exchange. And that's the core piece of the reading, but it has a lot of backdrop. And much more backdrop. In fact, I just learned one thing right now. I was listening to a commentary and I copied the link for it here. And I must tell you, I've been listening to this for a little while. And I like it more and more. And therefore I copied so you can also see it. It's called Logical Bible Study. There are many ways to go at Scripture. Many wonderful ways. Many very legitimate ways. And there have been some great schools of different approaches to reading the Scriptures throughout history. And even we get schooled on how to read the Scripture by the Scripture itself, because the Scripture is always referring back to earlier books, earlier accounts. And if you do look at that link of the Bible study I just mentioned, it focuses on the literal sense, which is the first sense in the discipline of theological study, the great classical theological study of Scripture. Then the first reading is the literal meaning, its original meaning. There goes a beautiful purple heron. And then you can have many other approaches: the allegorical meaning, the typological meaning. So there are many other ways to see it, and they're all mutually enriching. And so there are many. It's really a beautiful commentary for today's readings, and that's why I recommend it. It focuses on the gospel primarily, and it's always very rich, and it's quite long as well. This commentary, it varies. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's half an hour, sometimes even more. And it's stimulating, because the Scriptures are a wonderful mine of spiritual wealth. And spiritual wealth meaning insight into humanity, insight into God, insight into our struggles, our joys. And it's fascinating in that way. I love these plants here. So these two women have names, obviously, and one is Liz, and she lives not far from Jerusalem. Her husband is a priest at the temple. His name is Zach. And then the other girl's name is, the other young mom, young newly pregnant lady, is Miriam. That's the way her neighbors would probably address her. Maybe they'd say Mary, who knows. It's a common way today, at least. Miriam's here in Hebrew are called Miri sometimes. There was even a Mary working with us at Magdala a few years ago, a wonderful lady. So there we are. So then there are marvelous texts here. The first text we have is from the prophet Zephaniah. It said it was reconnecting. I hope you're good. I just noticed that there was some issue with the connection. Sorry if some people got cut off. Hopefully everybody can come in that need to come in. Sing joyfully, O Israel. Be glad and exult with all your heart, O daughter Jerusalem. So this is actually a figure also for the whole people, but it's also addressed in the character of a single person, O daughter. It's addressing the whole people, and it seems to be one same addressee. And it's about joy, and it's about victory, it's about dancing and singing. And the gospel reading is filled with these emotions and actions. Even the little babies dance in the womb. And this harkens back, if you see the logical Bible study, to Rebecca and how Jacob was going to be more important than Esau. And in the same way here we have John the Baptist and the newly conceived Jesus. And so there's a constant echo of vocabulary that's very specifically used in the texts of the Old Testament, in the New Testament. And this study today is particularly poignant in that regard, and that's why I give you the link. If you have time, I really recommend you to take a little time and to relish that. The guy speaks with an Australian accent, so I hope you can forgive him for that. We actually had a bunch of Australians yesterday here in Magdala. Oh wow, look at that purple heron there. That population is really rising here. And there's an alternative reading which is also very beautiful, and it's completely different angle, but it's so enriching for the contemplation of the gospel scene, from the letter to the Romans about Christian behavior. About being, not growing slack in zeal, about enduring in affliction, about persevering in prayer, about hospitality, exercise hospitality. You know, hospitality is the antithesis to hostility. It doesn't say that, I say that. Okay, so bless those who persecute, bless and do not curse them. The positive to living in a world with so many issues, to be a witness to joy because God is with us. His kingdom is among us. He is here present with us. And this is our psalm, which is really a canticle from Isaiah, chapter 12. Among you is the great and holy one of Israel. There's also a very big echo that's often been traditionally developed in the theme of the visitation, that really it's the transfer of the Ark of the Covenant. What was the Ark of the Covenant? The Ark of the Covenant is that special, tangible evidence, connection point with the presence of the Lord of the universe present among his people. And so is the dance of Mary through the hills of Judah. Again, in that commentary, there's an interesting analysis made of the use of that word in this occasion. Among you is the great and holy one. So there's a great sense of joy and celebration, and we need that in difficult times. We need not to let our joy go, because this joy is the fruit of the victory of love. And we can't let evil, a bad comment somebody makes to us, we can't let that ruin our joy, because God is with us, God is among us. How can we let that ruin our joy? How can we be overwhelmed by a negative word, by a harsh thought, by a temptation to do revenge? We draw the line, we say no. That's why parents draw the line with little children. When siblings, when they're fighting, they're going to tussle. That's part of growing up. But the line is drawn. Evil can't triumph. There has to be reconciliation. The siblings have to get along together again. Has to be a new beginning. And joy and love have to triumph. That's why mom and dad are working so hard. They want those kids to triumph over all the difficulties. I heard of a man who was born without any limbs, without arms and without legs, and the man is a total success, and he's an influencer. He's a man who gives such inspiration in the world. He's a sought-after speaker, and he doesn't have arms or legs. He was born that way. What kind of parents did he have who helped him to the triumph of joy and the triumph of love in his life? It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that's enough for today. I think I'll let you go at it. There's so many other things. There's an interesting comment about in the commentary I attach here, the logical Bible study, on the use of so many different verbs here, like Mary Elizabeth shouted about, oh, there's our purple heron just arrived and just departs. Goodbye. And then about, it was just so many other words, that she shouted with joy. And yeah, I don't remember them all, but you enjoy it. You just get into it and discover it. And every day there's a nice comment. You just need that, I'm not sure if it's an app, and logical Bible study, or a link. I think I use it just a simple link, and I find it very helpful. So people, God bless you. May you rejoice today with these two women who nobody knew at the time of their doing that. Nobody knew them. They were nobodies they didn't make any headlines, and yet that event became pivotal and a fountain of joy 2,000 years later still for us, for all of us. And throughout history, the great artists have busied themselves with it. It's just amazing. God bless you. See you later, alligators.